Regular City Council meeting of May 12th to order, 7 p.m. at the Cordova Center. Can you stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Allison.
Here.
Tom Baylor.
Here.
Kathy Sherman is absent. Jeff Guard.
Here.
Melina Meyer.
Here.
Ann Schaefer.
Here.
Kristen Carpenter. Here. Ken Jones.
Here.
And that's a quorum of council.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Motion carries. Conflicts of interest, ex parte communications. Hearing none, communications by and petitions of visitors. We don't have any guest speakers, so it's up for audience comments regarding agenda items. There are about 7 people in the audience, and I think they're all staff. So,
And one. Sarah.
huh?
And one is not staff.
Oh, okay,
Spouse.
okay. Chairpersons and representatives of boards and commissioners. CCMC, is there anybody online for CCMC? Hearing none, then we'll move on to anybody from the school board. Okay, then I think Vice Mayor Baylor has a PWS AC.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update. Tom Carpenter resigned as the president of the board, PISWAC, and he did get appointed by the state. So serves on the Board of Fish, yeah. And Mike Babick will step in as interim president of the board, and I think he'll serve until this fall, to the fall elections, and I'm assuming they'll take nominations and go through that process. So that's about all I got, but it was good news for Mr. Carpenter being on there.
Yes, indeed.
Good for Cordova.
All right, thank you. We don't have a student council rep right now, so the consent calendar is before you.
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll call the roll on that. Kathy Sherman is absent. Ken Jones on the consent calendar.
Yes.
Jeff Guard. We may have lost him. Kristen Carpenter.
Yes.
Tom Baylor.
Yes.
Melina Meyer.
Yes.
Ann Schaefer.
Yes.
And Jeff Guard, are you there? Okay, we lost him, but the consent calendar is approved.
Okay, thank you. The minutes were in the consent calendar, bids were in the consent calendar. So report of officers, mayor's report, a written report is in there. Somebody from Cordova was invited to the commandant's change of command for the U.S. Coast Guard ceremony in Washington, D.C. If anybody wants to go to that, I'm happy to hand over that invitation. It's in Washington, D.C. on June 1st, I believe, but they want to know by May 20th if anybody's coming to that. So, other than that, I don't have anything new to add that's not already written there.
I had one question.
Yeah.
Did I see Boundary Commission on here? Oh, Local Boundary Commission on the 12th. Where are they at in that process, or what was that?
They're just
Meeting.
doing internal regulations of their own. They're not considering anybody for, like typically when we see the Local Boundary Commission, we're talking about somebody's annexing somebody or doing something along those lines. But this is just was a meeting to discuss their internal.
Do you know if there has been any major conflicts with the boundaries? They didn't touch on that at all.
I
haven't been
haven't heard
following
of any.
Do you mean the redistricting board?
Yeah, was that the boundaries commission?
I think it's two different.
Oh, okay,
It's a different, yeah.
gotcha.
Anchorage is still having some trouble with their redistricting. I know that was sent back from the judge here a couple days ago again, and they got a temporary plan, I guess, but they're still working on that one. Okay, so we're on to the manager's report. Helen?
Yikes. First and foremost, I want to invite Sam up here to speak to our very, 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 very successful water department and all the efforts it's been doing. Have received a special recognition, 2 special recognitions from the state, and we want to acknowledge our really amazing staff, and Sam can speak more to what that is and share with what we're doing.
I gotta sit down so I can talk in the mic. Or Kenny will yell at me because he won't be able to hear me. Okay, so I know you guys all know how great the water department is, and this write-up within the packet is amazing. When you get a DEC state agency calling members of the group out by name and talking about how their camaraderie and their working together is amazing and a pleasure to be around, it's a pretty big deal. They love to come to Cordova and work with these guys, and they're not coming here to do inspections. It's a serious matter, and there's things that they, there's times when they have to ding us small. We fix them immediately. But, it's just amazing to me that a state agency takes the time and energy to recognize these guys at this level and to send back this to me when I ask for their reasoning. Also, it's a lot of work to keep your certs and to be compliant throughout the year. These guys do water tests daily, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly. They have all these different things. They have inspections at the labs. They do all these technical things that never get seen. It's not just maintaining pipes and things. And without the water department, we wouldn't have canneries. We gotta have water. We gotta have sewer. So I'm really proud of these guys. These awards are a big deal, both of which they have won consecutive for the Ursula Major Award, and they have won the Water System of the Year in the past. So we should be really proud. Everybody should give them a pat on the back, because without them, the poo wouldn't be flowing and the water wouldn't be coming out of the tap, and we would not be happy. So I have a little cash bonus for their efforts, and they make my job very easy. So, okay. Daniel, I think is on babysitting because he has a new baby, so we'll give him a break. Joseph has been working at the water tower for quite a while, and he's just accelerating up and learning and doing such a great job. Joel's, he's often left in charge of Joel, which is a big deal, and he's very great in the lab. So, is sort of new. 2020, he came in COVID, so we never saw him for like 3 months. And,
practically that whole year.
It seems like it. And he is, I will say, a character. He is fun to be around. He's always joking. I just told him he was famous, and he didn't know it. And he said, "Oh, no, I know." So, and then I also have one from Malvin. I lost Jules. I have one from Malvin because Malvin is, when you run a water department, everybody, water and sewer, the cert level has to be at level 2 for both of them. And currently, these guys are working up to get that cert time because it takes on-the-job training as well, many hours of on-the-job training. And Malvin has his, from when he was the superintendent before. So he keeps his certs current, he does all the continuing education, he helps when needed, and he is our backup. Because legally, if Joel leaves, Malvin has to be here. If Malvin leaves, Joel can't leave, that's legal. Somebody has to be at that certificate level to be running that plan. So we really need his help there. And then Joel, who does an amazing job. He mentors these guys, works with them, and he always smiles. That smile is always there, no matter what somebody's saying. I've had some interesting discussions, and he has answered questions that he probably like rolling his eyes to help me understand how things work. And they just keep going every day. They take care of their business and they get things done. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I'll give you Malvin's check. Your check is on my desk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. If you could come up here. They sent something for your wall, too.
Yay. That's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Each. Well, thank you all so much for this, and I guess there's nothing to say except for it's been a great honor to receive such a award. So we'll just continue, I guess, what we're doing with the water department to keep safe drinking water to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
And I think this is just another example of the unsung heroes in our city workforce that are doing work behind the scenes. We always hear about it when something isn't quite right. But the day-to-day, when everything is going well, this is just indicative of the real effort that our city employees put into the services that they provide. And I want to commend everyone and thank you again to our heroes today and for the honor and award that you brought to our community. I want to give you an update. Things are moving fast in Juneau. Today, the Senate approved the operating and capital budget. It's in the House right now. They have until midnight tonight to make that approval, but in that budget is $3 million for the harbor. And it is pretty much a given that it will be approved by both bodies. The governor then has between 3 and 4 weeks to take action with his veto pen, and we will do our best to make sure that he doesn't feel that we're a target. I don't think he does. And I'm fairly confident that that $3 million will come through. So that's really good news. It's unencumbered funds. It's state general fund money. Can be used for match. It can be used for any number of things. And it will go a long ways to helping with some of those cost overruns that we've been experiencing. So keep your fingers crossed. I'll keep you posted. In addition to that $3 million capital line, right now, the base student allocation number is looking like it will likely go up. School bond debt reimbursement is looking to be not only fully funded this year, but retroed back 3 years to make up for prior year. Crossing our fingers that that holds. We'll see again if it passes both bodies and gets past the veto pen. And I just want to really commend Louise Stutz. As you know, we don't have a lobbyist now. We did go down to Juneau. We put a lot of effort in, had a number, and then all of a sudden that number disappeared, and Louise Stutz was rather fit to be tied. And she went to bat for us and got a number back in, and we owe her a debt of gratitude. And when you do see her, do please thank her. No matter what the outcome is, it's through her efforts that there's any money in there at all this year. So that's Juneau. Again, we won't have a final number We will not know how that impacts our school budget. We won't know how that impacts our school bond debt. We won't know how that impacts our harbor until the governor actually pens the bills, and that likely won't happen till right around the beginning-ish of June. So there's still a little bit of a waiting game, but we're heading in the right direction. Which brings us around to, we don't know what our revenue numbers are going to be in certain areas, especially with the state. My goal is to have some budget revisions for you by the June 1st meeting, and if not that meeting, the following meeting. And again, it'll be dependent on how the legislature moves and the governor moves. But I know we have a request from the school. We need to get that approved at the June meeting. We also have a request from the ski hill, both of which you all agreed you wanted to find ways to fund. And I'm identifying ways that we can pay for those things without making any sort of a dip into our permanent fund. One number that has just emerged, it's not written in stone yet, but I have signed the paperwork. We did get a FEMA award for reimbursement of around $268,000. So we went through that process and were able to get that number. We just got confirming documentation. And so that will be something that we can use to help plug some of the prior year COVID expenses that depleted some portions of our earnings. So we have a little slush fund coming forward. So I'll have more information about that and try to have a little bit more clarity around the state numbers. We may end up having to do that in phases though, but we'll keep you posted on that. Harbor update, I don't know that we have anything in particular at this point in time. We're just plugging away at, we did just submit the PIDP grant application. It was due on Monday. And we submitted a grant application to the Denali Commission. Both of those have fall, hopefully early fall results. But again, we're seeking funds at every turn, and staff has been really working hard on getting those grant applications in. So kudos to them. The financial report is in there through 4:30. If anyone has any questions, but again, we'll do a little bit more of a deep dive into the budget where we stand at the June meeting or the very following, the second meeting in June. And that's it for me.
Yeah, go ahead, Counselor.
I just have two questions for clarification. Was the $3 million that's included in the capital budget, was that what we had initially were hoping for 7.5? Is that same
Yes.
pot of money? Okay, just,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So we originally put in for, we asked for 2, and certain members of the legislature felt that we needed 7.5, which we did. And then the budget reality started hitting home, and actually there was nothing put in at all until Louise went to bat for us. So she was able to get 3 in there, but that is the number, and it will not go up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, one more question. The FEMA funds, is that for, like, is it specifically COVID relief? Is that what those funds are
Right,
for?
so we put in, we were allowed to put in for a disaster. The federal government declared a disaster because of COVID, and that made us all as communities eligible for FEMA reimbursement. So we had to submit every expense literally, and justify every expense literally. And they approved that $287,000 based on expenses that we had incurred. And there are 2 things that come from that. Is number one, we've already paid for much of that stuff with COVID money that we received, but FEMA money can then backstop the money that we already spent and free up that money to go forward. And those funds need to be expended by 2020, encumbered by 2024. So that buys us an opportunity to move those funds forward into another budget, or to plug holes in, budgets that we're looking at, like the school or the ski hill or things like that. So I'll have some ideas for that and some recommendations for you guys to consider at an upcoming meeting.
Thanks.
Oh,
Well, thank you for that. I'm been around council for a while, and I'm used to city manager saying we're getting money. So you're saying we, or the FEMA and that, who's we? Are you doing this? Who's your staff? I just kind of give credit where credit's
Yeah, no,
due.
we hired someone to specifically focus on filling out that FEMA application. I think many of you may be aware, I've heard that we have been unsuccessful in the past when we submitted FEMA applications because we didn't document things properly. So between our accounting staff and Deborah Adams, who graciously agreed to contract and go through that process, we were able to fill out and submit and work through, and it took a year and a half of effort to do it, but we're fully reimbursed, and Deb Adams' time was covered by the grant, so there's no cost to the city to fill out that paperwork.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions for the manager? Online, anybody questions? Okay, hearing none then, we'll move on to the clerk's report.
So Ruth Steele, who's going to be handling the absentee in person for the June 11th special primary, was in my office today, just touching base and putting up a few more posters. And we have had some questions from people about if they didn't get a ballot in the mail, or theirs was lost or something, could they come in person to vote with Ruth? And that's a yes. She will have ballots like absentee has always been, so she can help you out. Plus, it's the same ballot all over the state for this one, so even if you're from a different part of the state and you're not able to be home to get your ballot, you can vote here. And she's starting Friday, the 27th. She will be Monday through Friday. It's 8 to 4:30. The times on the state website are correct now. They had been off by a tiny bit. And so she won't do weekends. She won't do Monday, Memorial Day, but she will do Saturday, the 11th of June, which is actually considered the election day. And that's going to be 10 to 4:30. We have that ballot box out front. That's the city ballot box for city elections, and it is not intended for people to put their state ballots in. We did have one person do it, which is fine. I kept it. It's in the vault, and I will give it to Ruth, and she will. But people can just mail theirs in, or if they don't feel comfortable mailing theirs in, they can bring it to Ruth when she's here, and she pouches them down to Juneau, I guess, once a week or something. And that's it, but we will answer any questions, so people can keep coming to my office or calling, and I think I'll get myself trained up on it just in case something happens with Ruth any of the time while she's doing that, so we can help out. And that's all I have for now. We certified the roll in the consent calendar, so that was good, and we'll set the mill rate next time. And then Tina can work on getting the bills printed and mailed for property tax. I can answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the clerk? Okay, staff reports are written in your packet. Questions on those?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Remember?
Yeah, I guess I saw in the paper the fire department has a new watercraft. I don't know if we could get a little explanation about how that came about and what it's going to be used for.
Paul Tremblay. Yeah, the watercraft came about from a few incidents here in Cordova where some local residents and also some out-of-state residents had issues on the water. And it's always been a goal for us to be able to respond to almost every emergency. Unfortunately, we've never had the budget to do so. Just this recently, we partnershiped with AC Company, and they donated a bunch of money for this watercraft. And then also Alpine Diesel, Jerry and Vicky Blackler donated a bunch of money. So we purchased the watercraft locally. It'll be used for basically any water area to help rescue people. Last year we did have the incident on the lake where some juveniles flipped in a kayak. Fortunately, they were wearing the life jackets and they were safe. We just didn't have a way to get to them. So that's how it came about, and we're lucky to have it. Also, NVE donated a bunch of money to us. That will help us get some personal gear for our rescuers, and then also bring in some professionals to help train us on the watercraft and how to do it appropriately, because we just don't have the money for that. So a lot of it's donations from the community and from businesses. So,
Good. Thank you.
yeah.
Any other questions on the reports? Anybody online?
I guess one more for has the harbor been able to get up to speed on staff? Or are they still trying to hire people?
Yeah, we have everyone.
Good, good deal.
Okay, last chance for the reports. Okay, correspondence is noted in your packet.
Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Bradford's email. I thought it was right to the point, well written. And your letters as well were very good, Mayor.
Thank you. Yep, I appreciate getting letters from the community. That's no way for us to know if they're not telling us, so.
Yep.
Okay, ordinance and resolution, well, those were in the consent calendar. Unfinished business, we don't have any. New and miscellaneous business, pending agenda. Get some sunshine yet today. Anything, Councilmember Carpenter?
I have a question about number 3 under resolutions, ordinances, and other items that have been referred to staff. The idea of placing a ballot proposition to change council seats to undesignated, and I wonder what maybe there's some timing considerations associated with that. I'm not sure, or workload. I don't know what.
Well, we
or
discussed it. I can't recall if it was a discussion item on a meeting or if we had a work session about it when we talked about it. And then we said because the 2022 state was doing ranked choice, maybe we should see how that goes in case we wind up really revamping the way we do it, not just undesignated, but changing to ranked choice, maybe. So I think that's how it got put in with those words.
Great. I was just curious about, what the timing consideration was. Thank you.
Does anybody feel like I could remove any of those other ones that have been referred? I don't want to forget about them if anybody thinks they're going to ever come back. Obviously, anything can be reworded and come back with a new number as well, but they stay on here a little bit to jolt our memory about them.
Is number 2 under the items that have been referred relevant anymore? Was that with the potential microbrewery? Is that what that was?
Oh, that is
something
true.
different?
But now it might be relevant for other reasons.
That's true. Yeah, so I think they have a different option that they're.
I don't remember about the snow avalanche and landslide hazards. That was a while ago.
Participating.
Oh, okay,
It was-
so they
it
were
was-
asking for funds.
No, they were offering to do a study of avalanche risk areas in communities that have mountains basically surrounding them. It was precipitated by the Haynes incident where someone was killed last year because of an avalanche that was unexpected and took out a neighborhood. So
And why'd we refer it? That's what I don't recall.
I think there was concern about what the impacts might be on land values
insurance,
and
yeah.
insurance and things. So I don't know that they have not come back to us to ask again, so.
They have done it. They came to, I don't know if it's FEMA money or somebody, but they came here a couple weeks ago. And Kevin had talked with them.
They're doing the LiDAR, which is a type of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That has to do with
which
the
was, yeah, which was different than the avalanche mitigation. I will say that Thursday this week, tomorrow already at 1 o'clock, there is a presentation by a individual with the University of Alaska, I forgot his name, who is working on earthquake and seismic hazards in communities. So he will be here tomorrow to identify the flood inundation zones and other things that do impact our geography here. And that is a state-funded program, and he will be doing a report tomorrow at 1 here.
Okay, I'm just doing my darndest to get things off this list. So far,
Well,
nothing. How about?
I'm wondering
5?
about number 6. I mean, not that we aren't concerned about it, but I just thought that might happen through another process.
As a matter of fact, we've since this resolution was referred, we did put together the joint negotiations team. So Helen, what do you think? So that one can go away?
Because there isn't really or is there a sale committee that meets or has met?
No, it's the joint negotiation
Now it's
team.
different, so yeah.
On the hospital, yeah, things are in a huge state of flux. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought
Yeah.
this specific reference to a sale committee might not be relevant because it's
Yeah,
happening
I
in a
don't,
different
right,
process.
right. It's a
that's all.
very different scenario at the moment. Yep.
So is it good to remove that one? Enough, are you okay with removing that one?
Anybody want to keep it?
I don't know. I guess the only thing is if the joint committee wants to move to a sale committee, those
Yeah.
are kind of different things,
They are different.
but I don't
And it kind of
really have a strong opinion.
It keeps you thinking about it, so I'll leave it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't remove anything, but we talked about stuff, that was good.
Anything else on the pending agenda? We got anything for our next meeting that we need to add to the agenda?
Well,
We've,
we mentioned a few things that are going to be
Right.
coming in June, and we have to set the mill rate by the 15th, and the second meeting is the 15th, so I'm really wanting to do it next week instead. I have the item pretty much ready to go. So that will be on the next one, so be thinking about that, I guess.
School funding.
I did tell the
And
school.
school fund.
I did tell the school board at their meeting that we would be considering their request at the June 1st meeting.
Yes, and Helen is on that as well, so
So
those.
we will have,
They aren't going to approve, they've got it scheduled for their June 8th meeting. That might change because it sounded like there was maybe some quorum issues for that date, but
I think the biggest thing with the school is, we need to come up with a number, but there's a huge amount of uncertainty around the base student allocation
Right.
and da-da-da-da-da, and that will not be resolved by June 1st, unlikely to be resolved by June 1st, so.
And what about the request from the ski hill for money to fund the cable replacement? That coming back to us anytime soon?
I think you all agreed that you wanted to fund that, and it was a matter of, I'm now looking to figure out some pots that you could potentially consider for funding that. But I'm not proposing for that for June 1st. This will buy me a little bit more time to get those numbers in hand. So probably the second meeting, and then I'll have budget amendments as well to accept whatever state funding we're getting, get the FEMA number in the budget, and make some of those other adjustments that we know we have coming down the line, so.
And if it's, what your thoughts are, if it's warranted, if we need to have a discussion again about having a lobbyist or not. So,
Yeah, I don't, I can speak candidly. Right now, I would say we did not need a lobbyist in Juneau this year. We had the right people in the room, with Louise being speaker and Gary Stevens being the rules chair on the Senate side, and a lot of good advocates in both bodies. Where things fell apart was we had one individual on the Senate Finance Committee who felt that harbors should be funded through the harbor program, and it took some effort to wrangle that thinking a little bit. So, but in terms of lobbyists, when and if we have something big in Juneau that we need someone to handhold us through, and we know that's going to be happening, absolutely we need a lobbyist. It would be helpful to have a lobbyist, but unless there's some specific thing that we know we want to move forward, we don't need a lobbyist. And that came from John Bittney as well. He's no longer a lobbyist, but he said, unless you have something very specific that you need help with, you probably don't need to engage. But we do have someone that is keeping an eye on things for us down there and is more than happy to, pick up John's mantle if we need it. And we can discuss that when we look at the budget. So.
okay, well, I bring it up, and it's speaking for myself, please don't think that the council told you that we wouldn't fund a lobbyist. If you feel that we need one at a certain point, please bring it to us.
Yeah, yeah, and the good news is that I have quite a bit of experience. We were really successful when we went down there, and then we've got Louise and Gary, and those two folks are, as long as they're still on our team, are in very powerful positions to make things happen. So I don't think we could pay someone to do what Louise did for us. I know we couldn't, so, yeah.
Okay, so is that it for the pending agenda? Okay, moving on then to audience participation. Last chance, last call. Thank you. Okay, council comments. We'll start online, go with Councilmember Jones.
Yeah, I just want to make sure to say thank you to all the water department guys. That's pretty awesome for them to get that award. Somebody like 3 different years, and yeah, kudos there. We do have great water in Cordova. Thanks everybody for coming out on a sunny day.
Okay, thank you. Is Councilmember Guard on there?
Yep. Thanks to staff for all the work they've been doing to help get us muddled through this stuff. Juneau, we've known we've had a really good water department for a long time, but it makes us really proud when we find out that the rest of the state now knows how good a water department we have. So we're really, really, really proud of what was the water department. That's about all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Start over here, Councilmember Meyer.
Yeah, thanks to the water department. That's great news. Like everyone said, it's really nice when other people recognize the hard work that some of our departments do and get that recognition from the state. It's a big deal. So thank you to the water department, and thank you to our new fire chief, Rob Matson, and Paul Tremblay, the deputy fire chief, for doing that. And thank you to all the city employees working on all those grants. I think seems like it was a big team effort by everybody. So it's good news, money coming in rather than just expenditures and less money than we expect. So it was good change. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Carpenter.
Thanks. I just want to echo what folks have said about the water department recognition, and I appreciate the folks who came in so we could meet them because they are kind of behind the scenes and I wouldn't have known them by face, so I appreciate that. Yeah, and I guess just echo the comments that have already been made. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Schaefer.
Yes, thank you, and good job to the water department. Same comments as everyone else. But yeah, thank you. And then also huge thank you to staff working on the proposals and grants. That's a huge effort. It takes so much time and work, so really appreciate all the hard work getting those, like the PIDP grant in and getting that FEMA grant done. And so it's, yeah, thank you and good job.
Hey, final word for you, Vice Mayor Baylor.
Yeah, again, well, I echo everybody else's, and to the fire department, I'm really glad you guys sought out and got that watercraft. I know people being around last year when those kids were in trouble, it's a stressful situation for everybody, and when you feel helpless, and now that they'll know that you guys have something to respond with, that's a great deal. Thanks for getting that. And of course, the water department, I've been singing their praises for a long time. I've worked with them over the years in my business, and they've always been professional and always done a great job. And I also live right there by the water department. And another nice thing about them is they're always courteous on the road. They're never speeding. They'll wait for you to get out. When you see them uptown or on the streets, they always do the right safety precautions. So just a really good group of guys, and it's real proud of them. So thank you. One last question or comment is a lot of talk about the ramp out at EAC on the river. Well, it doesn't work, and it was a snafu by the engineers. They got her too high, so that's going to be tough to launch your boat out there until the water comes up high. So they'll probably have to tear part of that out next year. But kind of goes back to my comment I made once before about when we hire people to do buildings and things around here, it needs to be double checked by some of the local community because these things happen. And I don't know where this engineer is from, but he put her too high. So, not a good deal.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
You have to put all four wheels in the vehicle even.
I saw
Talk about pollution efforts. You know?
pictures of that they had of the new ramp with the old ramp before they took the old ramp out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
clear from that.
Yeah. People are going to be driving down on the gravel. And then something for Kristen, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on out there with the watershed too, but part of that plan is to put this, you've seen some of that small white rock they've got over there, well, to line that bank with all that rock. Well, everybody uses that bank to bring their river skiff in, to snug up there, to control it, to load kids and stuff. And you put rocks there, that's not going to work. So I guess that was part of the process for erosion. But so it's kind of a mess out there, poorly planned.
Okay, one last item.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded. Any opposition to that?
Almost a record.
We will be adjourned. Thank you.